This video is instructional on how to play rap-time techniques on guitar. The idea is not to use rap type style effects throughout necessarily. You're not trying to create percussion as much as rhythmic accents. And just like the jazz musicians in the 50s discovered that the hi-hat subtle rhythm, constant rhythm can be accomplished, whereas the accents and the stronger bass sounds could be put in there in a non-rhythmical way. So the idea is not to replace a drummer necessarily in a band if you're playing with a band, because they can provide the regular, but the guitar is capable of providing rhythmic accents. I knew Michael Hedges back when I lived in Palo Alto many years ago, and I used to see him at the New Varsity Theater. He would be playing for dinner there. No one would listen to him, but I had good conversations, and this was before he recorded and became famous and went inside the theater. But the outdoor dinner one was where I had conversations with him, and we discussed the use of rhythmic effects on the guitar. Basically, what I told him was that he's going to damage his guitars by banging on them like the way he does. And this has been confirmed to me years later by Roger, who is a local guitar maker and luthier in my area, and who basically talked about another local artist who bangs away at guitars, and there are many of them. Brian Hennicky, Alex Bevan, and Roger's way of thinking that just destroys a guitar. But there is a exception. The flamenco guitar has a tap plate that is made for pounding and at least a modest amount, and tapping and rapping with your knuckles. So that's where we are here. How it fits musically is more complex, and I'm going to try to show some techniques that I've been working through. One technique is you play finger style, and flamenco guitar is where you want to be probably to do these things, and so there are many flamenco techniques that work besides just the rapping that complement it. So flamenco goes well with ragtime. That's why my term raptime, if I really invented it, which I'm probably doubtful that you could come up with anything original in the world, but here, did Shakespeare write his stuff, or was that Greek tragedy that he was rehashing? I don't know if he was being original. So it's even harder to be original today with the warehouse of information that's out there. And sorry for the distraction. Let me do the video here. Okay, you can do a tremolo. Flamenco tremolo is index finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger. Again, it's a 4 as opposed to the classical tremolo. And so you can go like that. And if you want to combine that with a thumb, that sounds good. Whoops, sorry. There it is. You can also do like that. So you're playing with your thumb. Take some practice to get the tremolo even. It's not easy. I'm not an expert. You have to practice a lot to get flamenco techniques good. Well, that's sort of the flamenco tremolo. It works well with flamenco because flamenco is a syncopated kind of music, and the idea is to, as an introductory to the beat, to put a little bit of that tremolo in there. So let's see what let's see. try to get put a little bit of the tremolo and the accent on the beat, or as introductory do a new phrase. Sounds good. I'm not sure I demonstrated that well. That's just the tremolo. There are many flamenco techniques that work with flamenco and other types of music you might play on guitar. Rasgueados, go ahead and YouTube demonstrations on rasgueados, and you'll get a ton of things on how to do it. And you have to practice forever to do it well. And so once you get a few down, you can start using them, and that's good. You can go a long way. You know, if you want to be a professional, you probably have to do more. But that's rasgueado is now you're using your pinky finger for a little roll. Whoops. It's hard to be even on it. There are many others. And you can combine it with a tapping with this finger. That's your ring finger, like this. Okay, so the rasgueado is important, the tremolo is important. Now we get to the crux of what has disappeared thanks to Paco de Lucia, and the fact that he uses drummers and integrates jazz components into flamenco, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. What I'm saying is some of the flamenco guitarists forgot about the golpe. Golpe is tapping the guitar. Now we'll start with the raps. Tap the guitar with your ring finger here. Or another way, Sabicas does it, is with knuckles. It takes time. So you can alternate. And a good technique to put in with ragtime seems to fit. Now, when I play that rap stuff for my mother, she doesn't think it works, and maybe she's right. I don't know. She hasn't heard a lot of percussive. I asked you if has she heard, Michael Hedges or some of the people that rap away on their guitar, and she says no, she doesn't know those people. So maybe she's used to just hearing guitar as a lyrical, quiet type. And I could get into the issue of whether the nylon string of a flamenco guitar and the cypress wood also sounds better with certain kinds of music, including ragtime. The quick decay seems to mirror certain aspects of the syncopation, and as a complementary idea, the tinny sound that metallic strings produce, people traditionally think that parallels the pennies that are put on top of a piano when some ragtime pianists would play guitar in the old days to get the honky-tonk sound. But flamenco also has a little bit of a European tradition, and no doubt Scott Joplin would have thought the same thing. By the way, Jelly Roll Morton would have thought the same way, because he talked about the Spanish tinge in jazz. You need the Spanish tinge in jazz. Well, he was talking about certain South American rhythms, but the truth is there's more to that than just those South American rhythms. All the flamenco guitar techniques seem to work well with the syncopation that ragtime has. And I did a video on little blues type as well. There are probably other places you can put it. I'm not saying these rhythmical accents work all the time, but they work. They seem to work sometimes. And I would recommend that you consider putting them into your ragtime guitar, and then now you have a raptime equivalent. It's a little bit of a hybrid of ragtime plus flamenco techniques. And there are other flamenco techniques perhaps I'll save for another video, and I hope this has been instructive. I'm trying to get you going on the ideas. They do require practice. I should practice more. Everybody needs to practice some. Although if you practice forever, maybe you lose your improvisational pulse, and so it's kind of a balance there. So you don't want to sound stale and wooden. And I love classical guitarists, but Segovia could take a lesson from Sabicas. Sabicas would have trained a few techniques that he could apply to things he didn't need to practice well. whereas Segovia has to sit with all this lyrical stuff and practice it forever. And does that make it wooden and less interesting? Well, I doubt a classical guitarist would agree with that. So I've said a lot, and I could keep going and going. So we'll talk. Perhaps I'll do another video at some point. Thanks. Bye.